At some point you just got to scratch your head when you hear this news, but quite honestly, guys, we're going to talk about this from start to finish, why it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to come back, and why it is absolutely a terrible idea for him to come back. Former WWE champion, teasing a return to the company, but the company's shooting it down. We're going to talk about it right here, right now on DPW.
You have arrived at your destination.
Okay, so first I want to say that I am not advocating for this guy to come back, because I think a lot of people are going to mistake that and mistake what I'm about to say and say that I endorse him coming back, because quite honestly, I don't want him back in WWE. I sure as hell don't even want to see him in AEW or Impact or any other wrestling company for that matter. But if there was ever a time where his career would have worked out best for him, I think now would be the time. So again, I'm not saying that I want him in the company. I'm just saying if there was ever a time period in which he was in the company, right now would probably be the best time. With that being said, we are talking about Alberto Del Rio. If you guys didn't know, Del Rio has gone publicly on some show. It was like, I don't know if it was out in Mexico or whatever, but he was basically speaking about having interest with WWE having interest in signing him, and they're going to be working towards a deal sometime this summer, mid-2020. Now, as you guys know, the world is going through tough times, so I'm here to bring you guys content through it all, and we'll see kind of how that goes. I'm trying my best to stay up to date with everything wrestling, but there's obviously far bigger stuff to worry about too. But if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tango with Ango. But nonetheless, Alberto Del Rio goes live and says, hey, we're working on a deal. I'm coming to WWE mid-2020. We're working some things out. It should all be finalized, blah, 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 blah. And this isn't uncommon with Del Rio. So just a little bit of a backstory. If you guys didn't know, Del Rio was in a relationship with WWE superstar Paige. Things were really, really, really bad. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, because it kind of plays a role into what is being said today. But basically, the relationship was really, 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 really bad. And Del Rio himself looked like a clown. A lot of people were not happy with the way he looked during all the drama. And obviously, it's just far bigger than that. And I don't want to go too deeply into that. But the reason why more than likely he'll never come back is because of that relationship with Paige. People are saying publicly at this point, especially people in the wrestling industry, they are saying that if WWE ever had to choose between Paige and Del Rio, they value Paige way more, and they would never, ever sign him because they don't want to ever make her feel uncomfortable with him being backstage. Some other things that were being said online, and this actually came from Alix McCarthy. If you guys don't know, he's from TalkSport. And basically he said that he reached out to WWE, and he was told that nobody reached out to Del Rio. Triple H didn't reach out to Del Rio, and that's kind of all you need to know about that. So what's really interesting here is Del Rio says one thing, the WWE publicly, have responded to people and said no. Why is this a thing with Del Rio? Why is this a thing with Del Rio? That's the question that everybody wants to know. This is not the first time it's happened. Last time he did it, WWE shot it down. It's just very, very interesting stuff that's happening, and quite honestly, it's annoying. And I want to go back to what I said about Del Rio fitting in today's market of WWE. Right now, when it comes to the Latin American roster in WWE, honestly, they have a really stacked roster. When you see guys like Angel Garza, Andrade, Humberto, Rey Mysterio, there is talks of Dominic Mysterio being brought into WWE. You got to look at NXT as well, a plethora of guys. Del Rio probably would fit best in today's market, today's roster. However, it is 2020. Everything we know about Del Rio, pretty much unlikable. I think the quality that he would bring to television with this group of guys probably would have been better than what we've seen with him in the past with like John Cena. That's my point in regards to that. And no way necessary, no way possible. I'm not endorsing him in WWE. I do not like Del Rio as a character. I didn't like when he became El Patron and went elsewhere. We all saw, kind of what happened with him exploring the MMA route yet again. The guy is just not good for WWE. He's not good for PR. I would be very, very shocked if WWE actually signed him. And I think that's kind of the thing, when you see all these people within the industry say that, WWE values Paige. Let me remind you guys that Paige is not even wrestling for WWE because she is not actively able to wrestle for WWE. So the fact that WWE has taken an approach that they are more, they see more value in Paige is incredible news. I think that is really, really good. And I think, honestly, at this time, Del Rio is old. Like, there's nothing else you could do for Del Rio. This guy, I feel like he's almost living in the past when he talks about possibly going to WWE. I also think he kind of ignores what's transpired previously within his run. And I think that's kind of the issue I've always had with the guy. It's almost like he's trying to rewrite history and make it look like everything's okay and WWE likes him. But the whole stuff that happened with Paige wasn't necessarily the first time that him and WWE had issues. And I do want to make that clear. It's not just that. That, I think, was by far the worst. But I just think there was so much in regards to that. And I just think at this point that it's done. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but I'm going to say, based on what's being said from obviously from Alberto Del Rio's side and WWE, obviously, people are saying within WWE that they're against it. I'm just going to go off in the limb and say that WWE is probably not interested. Del Rio, maybe in the future, if he cleans up his act and stops lying about this type of stuff, maybe there's a chance. Even that, though, too, I'm pretty sure it's just done at this point. I don't think there's an opportunity for him to come back. I don't want him back. I think, him coming out of, him coming into WWE, taking the spotlight from these guys, it would be ridiculous. And I feel like that's the kind of guy he would try to become. I could be wrong there, but, when you look at the youth, when you look at Angel Garza, when you look at Humberto Carrillo, when you look at those guys and you see the talent in Andrade, obviously, they're all talented. I don't want them. I think every one of those people could become the next Latin American star, right? I think they can connect with that audience. I think they can connect with the mainstream audience. It takes time, but I think those are the guys you got to push forward. So unless WWE puts them in matches with Del Rio where Del Rio loses absolutely every single time and gets buried and then gets released from his contract, I just can't really see how I would want him back in WWE. That's just me personally. Now, it's funny because I always thought the Del Rio gimmick was cool as hell. I always thought, the rich mobster type of look, it was really cool at the time. But at the end of the day, WWE is a different product. I think things are going to change relatively a lot within the next few months, especially with everything that's going on in this world right now. NXT doesn't even have wrestling matches this week. Raw and SmackDown wrestling in empty arenas. It's a really, really weird thing that's happening. And WWE doesn't have an off season. So nobody really knows how this is all going to go down. But like I said, the least of our concerns is whether or not Alberto Del Rio gets a job within WWE. He's doing his whole MMA thing, and hopefully that works out for him. Hopefully good enough to the point where he doesn't even talk anymore about a WWE return. That's just how I feel at this point. That's just kind of how I feel. Now, I've taken up about 9 or 10 minutes so far of your time talking about Del Rio possibly returning to WWE and blah, 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 blah. And I get it. None of you guys really care about Del Rio after the first 4 or 5 minutes I mentioned this in the video. But I want to talk about it because there has been a lack of news in wrestling, and I want to stay connected with you guys and produce content, but there's not a lot of stuff that's interesting me in terms of news. I think you guys can understand that I'm really not an Alberto Del Rio fan, which is why I want to make this video. But most importantly, I am the type of guy to talk to you guys about whatever's happening in pro wrestling. And right now, not a lot is it's not just happening, right now. And it's okay. Obviously, like I said, there's far bigger problems out there. So with that being said, I do want to do some live streams. I don't know if we would just live stream and talk wrestling together, as far as a community. I don't know if we would play games or something, but I just want to kind of take my mind off of all this bullshit that's happening in the world. And, we have over 20-something thousand people who come together and talk wrestling to begin with. What do you guys want to do? Obviously, I know everybody's kind of got their own stuff going on, but if we do something a couple times a week, maybe it's play 2K or Fire Pro, or maybe just literally turn on the webcams and everybody just kind of joins the chat room and talks and live stream it. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? DPW is here for you. So just let me know, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? At Tango with Ango on Twitter and Instagram. I'll holler at you guys later.
You have arrived at your destination.